I have got to get this thing off the ground, and I have finally made a decision that includes this, which no, it's not working. It's not even on there. I just put it on there just for the lulz. It's still running through this little standalone all-in-one water cooler, but I've made a decision. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits, and in today's video I'm going to finalize a decision that I've come to actually a while ago. I just haven't sat down and done it. So as I mentioned in the intro, I am switching over my all-in-one cooling for my server to this little miniature Noctua fan and heatsink combo. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what in the world, Jason, are you thinking? This is so tiny. You're absolutely right. But here's the decision that I made, and it's kind of my hand being forced. Basically, cliff notes here, long story short, I built a Ryzen system, 3900X, 12 cores, 24 threads, was a pretty badass system. And then one day I randomly shut it down and then tried to boot it back up. And then all of a sudden this motherboard started having major problems, saying USB over voltage and a VGA error, just basically all kinds of stuff with this MSI board. This is a $650 godlike motherboard. I mean, it's a godlike motherboard in Loki. I mean, how much more god can you get? So I had this problem with it. I diagnosed, I ran a bunch of tests. I used all kinds of hardware to try to sort of get it up and running. In the end, I ended up submitting an RMA. They sent it right back to me. They did nothing to it. They said it was approved. They said they repaired it, but they sent it right back. Same problems, same issues. Again, troubleshooted multiple different hardwares and everything I could. With the only exception is I never swapped the CPU, but I don't have another CPU without digging into Angry Inch back there, which is my DVR. And that is a pain in the ass, and that's not going to happen. So MSI screwing me over decision was, we're going to just submit another RMA. And I have very little hopes that that is actually going to come of anything. So when all this happened, I remembered that I had a spare computer I was using for streaming. It was an X99 5960X, not the most relevant or powerful processor out there. I mean, you know, maybe a little bit above a Raspberry Pi, but it was still good enough to kind of get me by and powerful enough to do some of the stuff that I wanted to do with my server, which is, if we're going to be honest here, I got to be honest with myself. I primarily use my server for Plex and folding at home. That's really what I did. Which, by the way, Barnacles, I hit almost 250 million, right? I had a $380 electric bill last month. So you'll never see this, but where's my toilet paper? You said you'd sign it. That's where this comes in. Pretty much, my X99 system, the spare system, has been running an all-in-one cooler that is many, many, many years old. It's a great cooler. I don't know, I think it's an NZXT cooler. Yes, big shiny logo. It's an NZXT cooler. Been a great cooler. Hasn't had any problems with it. Testing this under load with folding at home with the all-in-one water cooler runs at about 70 to 75 degrees Celsius. That's maybe a little warm, but at stock speeds, it's still a little bit warm, but you know, that's not bad. But it doesn't fit. It doesn't actually sit in the system. I have my main server sitting on the carpet every day, and my server / storage room is just a ginormous wreck. And I've been kind of going through this thing where I want to like organize some of my life, right? I bought a toolbox. I'm so excited for that because tools everywhere, not like computer tools, but like real tools. I got this little thing. I'm gonna build like this little like electronics like handle thing. It's gonna have all my electronics like soldering irons and wires and stuff like that in it. You know, I'm trying to like find ways to organize and easily find things in my life. My next thing is gonna be a network toolbox, because I have, this is my networking box. It's literally just an old box full of clampers and like, this is terrible. Or crazy. You can feel it coming from so far away. Title of your sex tape. Okay, so organization stuff, it's a step process. All that aside, I'm going to switch everything over. Basically, I'm going to put this in the system. I'm going to run some benchmarks. I want to see how hot it can get. If it's too hot, that's going to suck because, I mean, I've had this for a while. I don't even know if I can return it. And I'm just really kind of hoping that this works. I mean, good enough, right? I have high hopes. Right now, I'm actually running a fan that's, you know, kind of like cooling off some of my PCI devices because I have no lid, which means I have no direct airflow for the rest of my servers. So I added an extra spare fan just to cool specifically the PCI slots, like the SSD that I'm running, which is my cache drive, which I kind of realized that I put in the worst possible spot ever when I put this all together, which I just kind of threw it all together. I had to revert back to SFP networking because the RJ45 10 gig NIC that came with the MSI of Godlike motherboard was not working with Unraid. By the way, this is an Unraid system, so it was not working with Unraid, so I had to go back to SFP. Blah, 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 blah. Let's swap this mother out now. That way too much. Yeah, whatever. And there you have it. The single most exciting thing you've ever seen in your entire life. I obviously kept the GPU at the top slot. And then if I remember right with this X99 board, it's 16.8, 16.8, something like that. So I moved the SSD down to 16. I moved the hard drive controller down to 16. And I moved the 10 gig NIC down to 16. So it's all kind of spread out. And even if that's all wrong, at least it has, you know, better airflow, so I don't have to worry about just, you know, putting a fan on top of it like I'm a hillbilly or something. But hey, let's see if it works. Now, the one thing that I never did when I kind of got all this patched up and running is I never hooked up the front panels. And that was because for some reason, whenever I plugged them in, it just automatically turned on and it was acting really kind of funny. So I never hooked these up, and I think it's just because I didn't really know which one. So I have now taken a picture, and I'm going to plug them in correctly, or at least the ones that I care, which is really power and reset. That's all I really need, power and reset. And just like that, I lied and plugged in everything. Hey, you know what? Screw it. I'm here. And now the moment of truth. I got everything plugged in. I have no monitor. I have nothing to actually see if this is going to work, but I have the LAN plugged in. I'm going to plug in the power supply and see if it turns on right away. No. Okay, that's good. We're doing good so far. Now let's see if the power button on the front works. Yes! It works! It spins! It's on! Oh my God, it's making a beeping noise. What could that be? Oh, I don't even know what that beeping noise is. I think I need to spend the next hour troubleshooting what a very common error message like this sounds like to try to figure it out. If only I knew it was something simple, like a power supply not plugged in or working. But unlike someone else's server I know, this fixes this. Boom! Now, in case you don't know, this thing runs off of 4 power supplies. I currently have all 4 in there, but only have 2 plugged in. I have 1 plugged into the wall. I have 1 plugged in to a backup battery. I was doing troubleshooting. Whenever I get this actually re-racked, which I might try to do tonight, I'm running basically 1 from one backup battery and 1 from the other backup battery, so it has double the chance of lasting longer. Ultimately, I want to add like, I don't know, 2 more backup batteries, but that's thing for another day. By the way, random thing, they did not ask me to say this. This Synology NAS that's been kind of running, doing its own thing, it has just been running solid for like, what, month or 2, backs up everything in my house all the time, and it's 0 maintenance. I absolutely love this thing, and I still have plenty of space on it. So anyway, 1618 Plus. Of course, with Western Digital drives in them. I mean, is there any other drive? Now, while Unraid is booting up, I want to say that with the water cooling, I did run that folding at home. I got 70 to 75 degrees, and the first thing I want to do, putting the cover and everything on, the first thing I want to do is run that exact same test, 5-10 minutes, see how long it takes, and then see what my new temperatures are going to look like with this fan running full bore, like balls deep. We're just getting at it. So hopefully it's not bad. I'm guessing, I don't know, 89. It's a little rough. I'd hope for 85, maybe 80, but you know, it is what it is. So it ran for a little bit, and I went to the main computer and turned off. No idea why. Okay, so it's not booting up, and it lands on error 62. The only thing I changed, obviously, besides the cooler, was what PCI slots had what hardware in it. So I'm kind of curious why that is a problem, and I think I'm going to just start my troubleshooting by removing one PCI at a time and figuring out what the hell's going on. Damn it. Damn it. I know you're going to judge me. And I could just pretend it didn't happen. But I know I'm kind of dumb. So I'm just going to share what I think I did. This is a theory. I haven't confirmed it, but I'm pretty sure this is it. The new cooler came with its own standoffs. I used the cooler standoffs from the all-in-one cooler. So I'm trying to boot a PC with no cooling. I'm never going to live this down. You can see I made absolutely 0 contact, and the CPU was powering off in order to save itself from frying from my dumb assery. Please, just go harsh on me. God, that was stupid. So after installing that correctly, actually making contact with the processor, reinstalled my front headers, connectors, reinstalled all the PCI slots, gonna plug it in, gonna see if this thing works. And of course, gotta beep again. Now I just wonder if the computer monitor is gonna show up something. So it's staying on, no error codes. Everything seems to be running. All the lights and stuff are blinking and doing things. So for as far as I can guess, it's running, but I don't have any output. However, this is a new monitor, and I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I gotta go check, see if it's popping up on the network. 83 degrees-ish. More like 80 to 83. It dropped down to like 75-ish, but that monitor is, I gotta figure that out. It's not working for some reason, but the server's up and running. I got this. It's ready to be put back together, essentially. I still need to reattach and do a bunch of other stuff, but I am going to run this like this on the ground for a few probably days, maybe a week or more, and I'm gonna see if it's reliable. I'm sure it's gonna be fine, but I'm in the middle of the night, air conditioning running, you know, full blast. There's no sun coming through I really need to black those out. There's no sun coming through. The room hasn't been heated up. So I'm just gonna monitor it for a day or two before I go through the grueling process of re-racking this damn server, because that sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I really could use a helping hand. Maybe I'll ask a neighbor. Be like, bro, this shit's heavy. So that's it, guys. I gave up on Ryzen. And I don't know if you watched my Jason Bites Back video, but I think I mentioned it a little bit. Running the Ryzen 3900 motherboard came with a bunch of small, unmentioned problems, like weird booting things and like I don't know, like there's so many of them that were just really tiny and just kind of more of an irritation than anything. But this X99 chip I've ran for 6 years now, and the water cool for 6 years now, and it's never missed a beat, never skipped it. The worst thing that happened is I had to replace the CMOS battery. That's how old it was. So, hey, reliability. I know it only has 8 cores, 16 threads, so it's not gonna be able to do much, but it does have 64 gigs of RAM, whereas the Ryzen test bench motherboard that I put in there only had 32 gigs of RAM, so I did gain a little bit of RAM, so maybe I can explore some VMs and stuff that I want to run later on, you know. So yeah, Loki, not as powerful as it used to be, but maybe in the future I could look at some Threadripper or something. I don't know. Like and subscribe below, and maybe that'll happen. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a good day, night, evening, brunch.